Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. We're going to take our 150-day post-release look at Ravnica Remastered draft box sales data off of TCG Player. This is the most interesting one I've done in quite a long while. So in the whole pre-release period and out to 150 days post-release, we see that it sold only 1,415 boxes. That is very, very low for any type of set in Magic selling on TCG Player. And the total cumulative sale was $223,000. Now that comes to an average box price of $158 per box, but you can see a lot of that was buoyed up here by pre-release when the attitude around the set had not become too negative yet. But you have to remember back to December and early January of this year when this set was about to release, and just how negative the attitude was. Everybody was basing their expectation around how Dominaria Remastered had performed the previous year. And to go back and talk about that for just a moment, Dominaria Remastered was released in the same time slot in 2023 that this set, Ravnica Remastered, occupied in 2024. They were both remastered sets. They were both released with draft boxes and collector boxes. And what we eventually would see back in 2023 from Dominaria Remastered was just huge dumps of product onto Amazon and through the distribution network, and an absolute annihilation of the box prices all throughout of 2023. And it's even taken now into 2024 for those Dominaria Remastered box prices to recover. And so having seen that, we had a very negative perception of Ravnica Remastered and how it would perform. In fact, it may have been more negative for some reasons. In general, myself and a lot of other people believe that the cards in Ravnica Remastered are just slightly not as good as what Dominaria Remastered has. So it was a very slightly weaker set. And so if we go forward and let's compare it to a couple other things now, just for fun here, I want to compare this to Lost Caverns of Ixalan set boxes. Now this is just set boxes. This doesn't even add draft boxes. And you can see that Lost Caverns of Ixalan on cumulative spend outsold Ravnica Remastered by 2.5 to 1. So just another standard set coming out throughout the year outsold a half premium remastered set by 2.5 to 1 out to 150 days post-release for each of them on the cumulative spend chart. Now, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to put Dominaria Remastered up here because ultimately that's what we really wanted to spend a lot of time talking about. And you can see that red line of Dominaria Remastered. That is 4.5 times as high as the blue line of Ravnica Remastered. And I remember myself making comments to people, making comments in the comment sections on videos, and maybe I even said it on videos that I was hoping, before this release, I was hoping that Ravnica Remastered would go the way of Baldur's Gate. What Baldur's Gate had done back in 2022, it was in that half premium price category. It had really good, desirable cards in it. It had a very negative online attitude from the wider ecosystem of Magic players and collectors. And Baldur's Gate would go on to be an incredibly good set that I spent nearly 2 years opening boxes of and making a lot of money selling singles. And so I was hopeful that Ravnica Remastered would go that same way. And what we've seen since then is it absolutely has not. Now, WOTC did dump it on Amazon a couple of times for about $120 per box. And maybe if you got in on those dumps particularly hard, you got a lot of boxes that you could have opened for singles. But for the most part, there hasn't been much arbitrage to open Ravnica Remastered draft boxes for singles. Depending on the price you can get in and the exact time that you've done it, yes, there are some people who have done it, but it was nowhere near like Baldur's Gate, where for nearly 2 years you could buy draft boxes and make money selling the singles from them. One other thing I wanted to talk about, and really it's the genesis of why things for Ravnica Remastered went the way that they did, it's this cumulative box sales chart. And you can see that Ravnica Remastered only sold on TCG Player 1/3 as many draft boxes as Dominaria Remastered sold out to each of their 150-day post-release mark. And, Dominaria Remastered in 2023, it would go on Black Friday, I believe. I was buying it in the 80s. it was so cheap, so ridiculously cheap for the kind of cards that it contained. And what this tells me is that our original fears that Ravnica Remastered would just have boxes coming out of our ears stuck all over the marketplace for 18 months is probably not going to come true. It really looks like the case is Ravnica Remastered, at least the draft boxes, had the print runs absolutely slashed to the bone. Now, I believe it was the collector boxes of Ravnica Remastered where people very early in opening them started seeing that the serialized cards were about 3 times more numerous than you would expect, indicating that only about 1/3 as many of the collector boxes were printed as people originally expected. So, it seems that our initial expectations back in December of 23 and January of 24 for what this set would do were in fact wrong, but they were wrong because WOTC was slashing print runs much sooner than we thought that they would. So it's a good thing to see. It's good to see that there won't be so many boxes of Ravnica Remastered out there in the market that it takes another 18 or 24 months for them to really start tightening up, get some legs underneath them, and the prices to eventually slowly start rising. So really good to see that. Let me know what you think. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.